Hi, this is John Reed of JonERP.com. This video is one I've really been looking forward to. I'm wearing a tie for the occasion because it's about business users and what business users can get out of TechEd. I want to say before I begin, SAP did not ask me to do this video, and in fact if they had, I probably would have said no, because I have this tendency to say no when I'm asked to do things. It kind of goes way back, and you can ask my mother about that sometimes. She could tell you some stories. But anyhow, the reason I want to talk to you about the business relevance of TechEd is I think it's a really overlooked topic, and with TechEd on the horizon, if there's a chance that this video can influence anyone's thinking and get them to the show, I really think it would be a good idea. I realize you do have to build a business case to go to a conference like this, but here's some things you could maybe use in that business case and also in your own thinking about the show. First of all, I really can't imagine in today's SAP world thinking about SAP technology as a business user and not being able to understand some of the technical concepts around either systems administration or development. And that's a lot of what you're going to get at TechEd is exposure to some of these issues. And we're talking right now about the convergence in SAP between the stereotypes of the geeks and the suits. More and more, technology and business is intertwined. So technology serves the needs of the business, and on the flip side, when you design a business process, you need to understand how to map that into SAP technology. If you can't talk some of that language, if you can't understand some of the technical concepts involved in SAP, then I don't think you can be effective in a business role. And I say that as someone who's very active on the staffing side and talking to a lot of people about what they look for when they hire and build their SAP teams. So that's one piece. But the other piece of it is that there's this misconception that TechEd is really just about technical SAP. And I found this out for myself because I used to avoid TechEd because I didn't think it was really relevant to me. And then the first time I went, I was just kind of like shocked by how foolish I had been to overlook this conference. And now it's really my favorite SAP show of the year. And the reason for that is that if you're business oriented, there's a lot at TechEd that you can get involved with. And even SAP, I think, sometimes plays this down, but you have a business intelligence track, which has a ton of stuff. And are you going to sit here and tell me that understanding analytics, understanding dashboards, understanding how to visualize information is not important for an SAP professional or project team right now? It's crazy talk. It's absolutely important. The whole point of ERP right now is how to derive a greater value out of the systems companies have spent all this money on than simply transactions. The business intelligence track at TechEd will get you into those kinds of workshops and sessions. Secondly, the business process management track. What we're talking about with ERP 6.0 is a process-driven approach to SAP. It's not just a buzzword, it's about better implementations, a better methodology. In fact, SAP's revised its own ASAP methodology to be more BPM-oriented, and that's something that is covered in some of the BPM sessions as well. You get a much better handle on how to apply a BPM approach in an SAP context. And this is actually happening. There's a use case wiki on SEM with a number of companies who have use BPM approaches. It's not just about buzzwords. This stuff does work. I did a podcast just recently with an individual who has used a lot of these process-oriented approaches to streamline processes in his business and free up basically folks from redundant tasks, help them improve their workflows. And this is all done in an SAP context. And the BPM sessions really get you insight into how to do that. So the idea that it's not relevant to business users is a little bit wrong-headed in my view. Finally, TechEd really, in my view, is the most soulful of the SAP shows in that I think it really captures that spirit of SAP community. And you pick up on it on the community network online, but you really get it full force at TechEd. It's just a fantastic show where you talk about Demo Jam or some of the experiential events or the concerts, but it's the people and it's the community clubhouse. And one of the mistakes people can make is not allowing a little bit of informal time outside of sessions to network in the expert networking lounge of the community clubhouse. As a mentor, I'll be doing sessions there on some of my topics on skills and career development. But there'll be a lot of interesting sessions there that you can partake in informally and really build out your network. And that network is incredibly relevant because I become convinced that the best SAP professionals and the best project teams are not isolated from each other, but they're actually heavily networked, both online and in the real world through user organizations like ASAP, but also through these conferences. And at TechEd, you're going to get a flavor for that. Not only that, but you're going to kind of see how things turn the corner and start to actually get fun. The Enterprise Geeks, for example, and the culture they've created around what they do, to basically, they've really made a lot of this stuff fun to talk about. I mean, even their Web Dim Pro ABAP sessions, the freak shows, are fun to watch, and you get this sense of how SAP as a culture can be really innovative and compelling and not what you would expect from a large company. And if you miss TechEd, I think you really miss out on that. And you don't want to later look at all the photos on Flickr or SCN or whatever and be like, oh man, I missed this again. So this is my pitch to you. Go to TechEd and hopefully we'll see you there. This is John Reed, JonERP.com.